Welcome back to the channel, Racer X here, and today I am in Lutz, Florida. Actually, this is Streetside Classics. You can see their sign right here. Technically, it's their Tampa location. They do have locations across the country, and these guys are known for having some of the most awesome old school rides in the country. This is a fantastic dealership. If you love old cars, you will absolutely love what I'm getting ready to show you. And today I have an outstanding review that I'm just super eager to bring you. It's a car that I actually used to own back in the day, so that makes it even more cool. So this should be a lot of fun for me today. If you're brand new to my channel, please do me a big gigantic favor. Please hit subscribe over here in the corner. I would really appreciate it. I have so many big plans for the channel this year. It should be a lot of fun. And off we go.
T-minus 15 seconds.
Now, as we step inside here, guys, you start to realize just how cool this place really is. I mean, just take a hot look at what you see when you very first walk in the door. I mean, they've got a little bit of everything here. Check this out. This is an old school Shelby, a very rare car, and just an amazing machine. I actually featured this on my Instagram not too long ago, but I mean, what a beautiful machine. And now I want to take you outside to show you some of the stuff they have out there. Take a look at this. You want to see some really cool stuff. This is an absolute smorgasbord of wholesome goodness out here, guys. I cannot tell you just how many cars they have, but it's in the hundreds and hundreds. It goes all the way back. I mean, have a look at this. This is an amazing dealership, guys. Look at all this eye candy out here. I could sit here, I could literally stay in this dealership for days. I mean, they've got, like I said, they've got some everything. You've got a Rouse Stage 3, some more new age stuff, and then you come over here and you see stuff like this. Just incredible machines everywhere you look. What an insane dealership. Everything in this place just catches my eye. I mean, look right here. This is a 71 Chevelle. I mean, what a gorgeous car. It is just absolutely mint. And yeah, guys, if you're into old school cars, the classic stuff, I mean, just look at the kind of quality these guys carry here. I've never really seen a dealership like this that carries so much cool stuff. And I mean, like I said, everywhere I look, you've got Camaros right here that are mint condition. I mean, anything you could want, if you're an old school guy, this is the place to be. Just take a look down the line of these cars. I'm just gonna give it a really quick walkthrough, and this is only one part of this dealership. I mean, just all of these. I mean, when you see them in person, they're even more beautiful than they look on camera. I mean, old Fords, gorgeous cars. And I mean, look at these things. This thing looks like something out of Ghostbusters, but a big old car. Anyway, so I mean, just look, have a quick look at this stuff. And I can't run through each and every one of these, but I mean, it is just unbelievable, the inventory that these guys carry. In a day and age where nobody has any inventory, these guys have it all. And I could go on and on about each one of these cars. You may see me film more here as they continue to get more stuff in, but I just wanted to show you some of their wonderful inventory. And now let's jump outside for the actual purpose of the video. And there it is. That is the car that I've been waiting to show you. That is a 1998 WS6 Ram Air Trans Am. This thing holds a very special place in my heart. I used to own a car actually very similar to this all the way back in the day. My car, I believe, was a 2001, but I absolutely have a soft spot in my heart for the Trans Am. And of course, this is the last generation Trans Am. And as we know, Pontiac kind of went the way of the wind quite some time ago, but I absolutely love the Trans Am, and you still see these on the road every once in a while. It's rare, but you still see them. And I still think they did such a great job when they designed this car. So let's take a closer look at it. This is such a fantastic example of the Trans Am. I absolutely love it. As I mentioned, 1998. So this is almost 25 years old. But this is my favorite view of this car from right here. The Ram Air just looks absolutely menacing. Look at that. Even 25 years, almost 25 years later, it still looks so incredible from that view. I mean, man, they knocked it out of the park with the design on this car. You can see the big fog lights there on the bottom. That is a functional Ram Air right there. And this particular one has an aftermarket hood on it. You can see right here, this is a little bit different than you would get standard from the factory, but look at the Firebird right on the top here. Just, man, what a good looking car. You can see it there. Again, this has the pop-up headlights, which I still think are pretty cool. You got the sweeping lines right here. Now this does have some aftermarket wheels on it, but you can see it's unmistakably a Trans Am. And we just step back here and take a look at the lines on this car. I've always loved the spoiler on the back of this car, just the way it sweeps back this way. And then take a look at it from the back. This one does also have an aftermarket exhaust. There's a couple other goodies I will show you on this, but I mean, even from this angle, the car is extremely striking. I love kind of the honeycomb lights back here. Once again, mistakenly, or unmistakably, I should say, a Trans Am. And then of course, this is a WS6 package, or a Ram Air, as I mentioned. So this one makes slightly more power than the standard Trans Am did, but man, what a beautiful car. So let me show you the inside of the car really quick. So the inside of the 1998 Pontiac Trans Am, I mean, well, as you would expect, it's almost 25 years old, as I mentioned. So it wouldn't exactly compare to something we see modern day, but I still feel like they did a pretty good job with this car. I mean, you've got your windows and door controls, all that good stuff right where you would expect them. The seats are actually still comfortable to sit in. This thing even has T-tops right here. So if you're not familiar with those, these things just come right off and they actually go in the trunk. There's a special spot where those go right in the trunk. And a really nice place to sit. And I mean, this thing is basically absolutely mint condition. This thing only has 20,000 miles on it. So I mean, it's as close to perfect as you're gonna find one of these Trans Ams, but a nice interior indeed. I did just want to show you this really quick. Obviously, I've got the trunk popped right here. It's kind of got this little area right here for storage and this little divider here. Of course, this just flops forward. And then, of course, this is where you'd want to put your T-tops. And they go in here really nice and secure. So obviously, they thought about that. Kind of gives you that convertible type feel without having an actual convertible. And he's even got a 12-disc changer here. I know this is like a foreign concept for a lot of people, but hey, nice to have for back in the day. So as many of you may be aware, Pontiac was dissolved back in 2010. It was part of the General Motors brand, and they made this particular one for 5 years. So 1998 through 2002. At that point, we didn't see the Trans Am anymore. So it's been gone for 20 years, which is kind of a bummer because, man, look at this thing. I absolutely have a soft spot in my heart, as I mentioned, for this. Now, the engine in this is actually borrowed from the same model year's Corvette. It is the old reliable LS1, and these things were pretty fast back in the day, even though they were only rated at 305 horsepower and 335 pound-feet of torque. They actually dynoed it pretty close to that, so they were very underrated. These cars are a ton of fun to drive. Now, this particular one hides a little secret in the engine bay. Let me show you. Now, here is the aforementioned LS1 engine, but this doesn't look like any normal Trans Am that I've seen before. This actually has a Vortec centrifugal force supercharger sitting right on top. They've even got the intake here painted to match the body of the car. I mean, everything on this car was done just about perfect as far as I'm concerned. Except the exhaust sounds really good on this thing. I don't know exactly how much boost this car is making. It's probably pretty low, but it just is going to add a little bit more flair to this car. It just makes it a little bit more fun to drive than it already was. And just about, like I said, everything on this car was done right. If you look over here at the brakes, you'll see it's got upgraded rotors back here as well. And then back here we do have the Flowmaster exhaust, and this thing really does sound good. I want to take this thing down the road and let you kind of listen to it and give you my thoughts. Here is the driving position of the 1998 Ram Air Trans Am. And as you would expect from a car that is almost 25 years old, it doesn't exactly have a super high quality interior compared to today's standards, but it does have leather seats in it. It does actually have a back seat in it, as you can see right here. Not a big back seat, but once again, this is a two-door. And of course, you even get a cassette player right there. Some people probably watching this don't even know what that is, but anyway, if you have a cassette player or tapes, you could put that in there. But you do have your climate control right here. Of course, your radio controls here. Very analog on the display as you would expect. Remember, this is a 1998, but really all the stuff you would want, it's all right here. So I do still like the interior of this car. And of course, right down here, that is the boost gauge. That is not a standard feature of this car because obviously this is supercharged, but a nice place to sit and do business in this car. Now, being behind the wheel of this thing actually really does take me back. I think anybody else can relate. If you ever got to go sit in a car that you used to own a really long time ago, there's just something special and familiar about sitting in a car like that. And that is what this is doing for me right now. I remember having a lot of really fun times sitting in a car just like this. And there's, just like I said, there's something about the Trans Ams that I've always loved. And even back when I was in high school, I went into a Pontiac dealership and I saw one of these sitting in the showroom, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Just the very first time I saw the thing, I was like, that is an amazing looking machine. The salesman came over and said, hey, look, you know, that thing actually has the engine out of the Corvette, the C5 Corvette from the same model year. And I was just like, wow, that is truly a special car. And I made up my mind that one day I was going to own one. So I went all through college and everything, just driving my little beater car. And then of course I came out of college and I got a professional job, and I saved my money and I was able to buy one of these. And it was really kind of my first introduction into sports or performance cars, this car. And that's why it is so special to me. And boy, just sitting here getting to drive this once again, man, I'm in a really good place right now. So I'm going to take it down the road. Now, this particular car comes equipped with the 4L60E, which is the automatic transmission. It's a 4-speed. They also came with a 6-speed manual, which is like the car that I had. But this thing is still really good. I mean, it doesn't feel refined at all, if I'm being honest. It just kind of feels like a sledgehammer, as I mentioned. But boy, listen to it, and it just, oh, there's something just analog about this, but it makes it so much fun to drive. I mean, just like I said, just getting behind the wheel of this, it puts a big smile on my face. You can smell the exhaust fumes. You got the light coming in from the T-tops right now. And then of course, when you take a little corner like this and you go to get on it a little bit, that Vortec comes in. Well, there it goes. There we go. What a fun car to drive. So another fun little factoid, this thing actually has the same amount of miles as the car that I bought all the way back in like 2002. It just goes to show you what a wonderful example of a Trans Am this one is. I'm loving hearing the car. I mean, it's not the fastest thing in the world. It doesn't corner like a Ferrari as you would expect. And it's not perfect, but that's what makes it fun. I think if I was looking for a car to just kind of weekend drive, to have fun in, that looked good, that I could just enjoy every once in a while, this thing would be a heavy contender for me. Yes, it's 24, almost 25 years old, but it's still really good. And I mean, it's beautiful. And it just doesn't get much better than this when I look at a car and it takes me back to my younger days. Not that I'm that old or anything, but I mean, it's been a while. And I'm just really enjoying this car. Listen to this thing. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess the time has come for me to go give these guys their car back. I don't really want to, but I got to. So anyway, a huge shout out to the guys at Streetside Classics in the Tampa area. What a beautiful dealership. They've got so many cool cars here. This is just one of the many cars that they have here. Look these guys up on the internet. It's incredible. But wow. 1998 Ram Air Trans Am. What a fun car to drive, and just really enjoy this thing. This car really does take me back to my much younger days. And I gotta say, there was something going on in that sort of late 90s, early 2000s time frame when they just did such a good job designing so many of the cars. I mean, this is one example, certainly like the C5 Z06. What an amazing car that was. I may actually have a review for you on that one as well. The Gen 2 Viper. I mean, I could just think of tons of cars that came out in like the late 90s, early 2000s that were just fantastic, great to look at, tons of fun to drive. And like I said, even 25 years later, this thing is an absolute blast to drive. Yes, it's rudimentary by today's standards, but it's still so much fun, and I absolutely love it, guys. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below, and I will catch you on the next one. So until then, Racer X.